Sealed only journeys are nothing new. You know the gist. I can't buy singles, trade cards, or use ones I already have. Going from 3 structure decks, we'll be building the most competitive deck possible. Along the way, we'll be able to use other structure decks, tins, packs, prizes, to build a deck of diabolical darkness for duelists to compete against. Most duels will be online as our strength grows. We will tackle some safe in-person events. This is Sealed Only, Into Darkness, $40 a week. So we'll be starting out from 3 LAIR of Darkness structure decks, featuring Lilith, Lady of Lament. This card will probably stay into our deck the entire series because of how good it is, and I think it's pivotal to the way I want to run the deck. So let's crack open this guy, and we'll see what's inside, go through the cards, and we'll build our first version of the deck. Diabolus. Let's see what's inside this baby. So we got Lilith, Lady of Lament, the main waifu. This is kind of the main reason we're playing the deck. Probably the best card in the deck. Definitely going to play 3 of this, and 3 will probably stay in the deck the majority of the time that we play. Oh, bro, is that a miscut? Yeah, Darkest Diabolus, hand looping. Pretty fun, can recur itself, kind of our main boss monster. Next we got Arima. This guy searches out our field spell, and also it can draw a card or get us to Diabolus, depending on what we tribute. LAIR of Darkness, kind of the main reason to also play this deck besides Lilith. This card's amazing, as well as being like a floodgate. It enables all of your virus cards to tribute your opponent's monsters for cost, so that's fun. Grinning Grave Virus. This card's terrible. Oh wow, look at that, scratch marks. Quality Konami. We got Duke's Shade. This card's okay. I don't know if I'll be playing it. Maybe it'll come up later. Then we got Diabolos, the Lich Lord, King of the Underworld. Prometheus, King of the Shadows. Archfiend Emperor. Wow, that's hilarious. Probably won't play this, but that's interesting. Caius, the Mega Monarch. Not a bad card. I don't think it'll come up for us, though. Legendary Maju. Not Deiza, unfortunately, although that card would be awesome to play. We'll probably play this card, actually. Vanity's Fiend. I don't know if I'll main deck this, but this might stay in the side, because, you know, Vanities. Mist Archfiend. A little beat stick. Maybe we'll use that beat stick. Infernal Dragon. Archfiend Cavalry, Stygian Street Patrol. That's a good card. We might play that. Phantom of Chaos. Might play this as well, because we can pitch Arima, search our field spell, summon this, banish Arima, tribute itself to draw a card. So that's not bad. Kind of gets through our deck. Could come up. Plague Wolf, Fiendish Rhino Warrior. Not bad. Curry Bandit. Probably won't play this. Tour Guide. Man, looking beautiful in that common rarity. This card's really good. We'll probably play this in tandem with the Fiendish Rhino Warrior there. Absolute King Backjack. That's a pretty good card. We'll probably play one of those. Relink Karibo. Recurring Nightmare, not bad. Allure of Darkness, that's awesome that this comes in. We'll definitely be playing this at first. Don't know if that'll stay in, though. Hand Destruction. Drawing cards is great, but we don't want to let our opponents sculpt their own hand, so kind of bad. Foolish Burial Goods. I have no idea why this is really in here. I think there's only one semi-legitimate target. Yeah, we won't be running that. There's really nothing we can do. Boogie Trap. Fires of Doomsday, like a worse scapegoat. Might go on the side, prevent us from getting OTK'd. Veil of Darkness, Crush Card Varus. Wow, so this is a good one. Don't know if I'll main deck this, but it'll definitely go on the side. This is an interesting card. We just don't want our opponent to send like all of their Drytron names to the grave, so that could bite us. Deck Devastation Varus, Eradicator Epidemic Virus. This is a great card. We'll definitely be main decking that one. That one's probably the best virus card. Full Force Virus. What else we got? We got Dark Light. That's a great card, actually. We'll be playing that. Trap of Darkness. Mind Crush, arguably, debatably, potentially, hypothetically, the best trap card in the structure deck. Because our virus cards actually allow us to look at our opponent's hand, so then we can snipe maybe their best starter, maybe an out to our board. You know, it's good to play in the main deck. Rise to Full Height. This is probably the only Foolish Burial Goods target. I don't think we'll be playing it. Maybe go on the side. Curse of Darkness. This is a good card. It actually inflicts 1,000 damage per spell card activation. So maybe if we main deck 3 of this, you know, our opponent's only limited to 2 or 3 spell cards. You know, say we activate 2 of this. You know, that's 2,000 damage per spell card. So that's actually not bad. I like that. Sinister, Yorishiro, and the Token. All right, let's get to deck building. We're going to put the pile of these 3 together, see what we can come up with. All right, we're going to move all this crap to the side here. Let's go through the deck. So I actually think we may have something here. So, you know, we'll see how it goes in the LAIR. So we are running 3 LAIR. Definitely one of the better cards, like sort of a floodgate in its own right, enables a lot of our deck. We're also running 3 Allure. The draw power is like very important. We run a lot of dark, so has a lot of targets. 3 Lilith. So this is a quick effect. 4 cost, it tributes, so I think it has some synergies in the deck, especially with LAIR. We can tribute our opponent's monsters to activate Lilith's effect. You know, tutors out our normal trap cards, so that's actually pretty good. Next 3, Rima. This gets to our field spell. Its tribute effect is also not terrible. We have our one Miscut, Darkest Diabolos, and the second and third copy. So this is kind of our boss monster. We can do some damage. Target for Eradicator Epidemic Virus. Also loops a card out of the opponent's hand, which will definitely come up. I think we'll be seeing less and less of this card as we go on with the deck. Not entirely sure if I'll even be running it at all later on, but definitely in this first iteration, we're running 3. Next, Tour Guide, the second bay of the deck. So this is kind of a good normal summon. Can get out our Lilith to tribute for cost for the LAIR in case, you know, we don't have any other players. Also goes in tandem with our Fiendish Rhino Warrior. So this is not bad because we could summon the Rhino Warrior off of Tour Guide, and this will actually send our Absolute King Backjack, allowing us to stack our deck, knowing what the next 3 cards are, and then on the opponent's turn, we can banish this to set a trap card. So it kind of allows us to, you know, see what we're about to draw, you know, also gets an additional trap, so it's a good plus. It's good for now. Later on, we'll probably be taking it out. 2 Phantom of Chaos. So this can copy a Rima. I think that's like mainly, you know, what it's going to be used for. Not a bad card. It only does it for 1 turn though, and it does have 0 attack, so that could bite us. I don't know, not bad from just the structure deck alone. In tandem with 2 Stygian Street Patrol, one of the better normal summons. You can banish it to special a Fiend from your hand. So not terrible. You know, worst case scenario, we set this, you know, it gets popped, and then we're able to special, you know, the Lilith from our hand, and it has 2,000 attack. Lilith gets 1,000 attack if it's normal summon, so may come up. 2 Maju Garzette, you know, triggers our Diabolis, and, you know, gets us tokens, so not a bad card. Could also make this pretty beefy to beat over something if we have enough tokens / monsters, so it could come up. Speaking of beat sticks, we're also running 2 Mist Archfiends. This is just to do damage and nothing else because it gets destroyed during the end phase, so kind of terrible. Onto our traps. 3 Eradicator Virus. This is probably the best one. We'll mainly be calling spells for this, but in matchup specific duels, we could call trap. So pretty good. You know, discards all of them and sends them from the field. So I think that's pretty good in terms of board wipe. For a structure deck, that's actually a very powerful effect to have. Moving on, we're going to be running 3 Dark Light, probably one of the other best virus cards. It's not a virus card, but it tributes a dark monster with 1500 or more attack. So kind of spot removal, and then also wipes the board. So wipes our opponent's board, actually. Special summon monsters. So I don't know how much it's actually going to apply to us, but definitely a good spot removal, good board wipe. You know, you can be skillful with it. 3 Mind Crush for the virus cards and whatever else we side in. I'll show you side deck. We do have one. But not a bad card, especially if our opponent searches something, and then we can just immediately discard it out of their hand. So pretty handy. And then finally, we are running 3 Curse of Darkness just to do some damage. This deck has some problems trying to do damage. It is a continuous trap, so non-tutorable, running 3. It'll come up though. I think it's not that bad. And then we're also running tokens and the Duel Links card the deck came with. So we'll need all of these. All right, so we're gonna move on to the side deck here. Let me just get all this crapola out of the way. All right, our side deck, in quotes because it's not a real side deck. But we could side in any of these. 3 Vanity's Fiend obviously prevents either player from special summoning, but is pretty good, could win us some games. 3 Fires of Doomsday will just prevent us from getting OTK'd, and could be tribute fodder, you know, for Vanity's Fiend. I think those 2 cards in tandem, not bad. Crush Card Virus, this is matchup dependent. I don't think, you know, you let your opponent send all their Drytrons to the grave, or, you know, an Eldritch. That's a bad move. So I think because of the meta, we're going to be siding this. Next, 3 Grinning Grey Virus. This card is arguably pretty terrible, but could also be matchup dependent. So I don't know. We could side this in, or it'll probably just go on the binder for now. And then finally, Rise to Full Height, again, to prevent us from getting OTK'd. So basically doubles the defense, and then can... you know, make your opponent attack only 1 monster. So you could double a Diabolos defense, and then they have to attack into a 5,000 defense monster. So, you know, not bad. So that's our side deck. And that's going to be it for what we're running for now in the first episode. Let's get into some duels. We're going to go on to EDO Pro, see how this deck does. We're just going to be doing random matches, and the first 3 will be what I show you guys. So let's get into it. Alright, so our first duel is up against Resonator here. We're going to start by activating LAIR, activate Arima. It gets ashed, but it still triggers our Diabolos. For that, we're going to rip a card out of our opponent's hand. End phase, we get 2 tokens because of Lair of Darkness. They're going to start with a Resonator Call, followed up by a second Resonator Call, then a Resonator Command. This is going to allow them to actually get to their level 6 Synchro, but we have the Dark Light for it. In the end phase, they will get a token because of Lair. We're actually going to be able to start off with the Tour Guide. Lucky rip off the top there. Our Lilith is negated, but it'll still allow us to activate the Diabolos Engrave, getting us the win. So this match, we just started off with the Lilith play, and in the end phase, we will get a token. We'll activate the Virus card. We get to see their hand, so we get to rip the Desires out. It seemed like the only card that was a threat. We know that they have a handful of Resonators and they can't do much, but neither can we, so we'll pass it back to them. They'll be able to activate all 3 of their Fiends Engrave that they were able to get off that Virus card. Wow, that's just not the best Virus card in the world. They'll get a Riser Dragon. We'll be able to Dark Light it again. Seems a lot like last game. And just like last game, we're going to be drawing a Tour Guide for turn. It gets impermed, however, this time. We'll crash into their set Resonator monster. They have a grip full of tuners that are pretty useless to them. They'll be able to get to their level 6, Synchro off into their level 9. This is a negate, but we can use Dark Light to tribute for cost. In the end phase, they'll... Oh, they're still in main phase too. Okay, so they're going to be able to get more Resonator cards. In the end phase, they get a token. We'll start off with Phantom of Chaos, banishing our Lilith to activate its effect. We now have a 2,000 attack Phantom of Chaos. Crashing their monster. In the end phase, it does become 0, but we do get a token. So they're going to start off with a Pot of Avarice. Lucky for them, they get to draw 2, and they draw into more Resonators. A grip with 8 Resonators in total. We'll start with Alert of Darkness, banish the Lilith, Alert of Darkness again, and set our... Mind Crush. Let's see, we'll pass it back to them. They set and pass. We're going to start with an Arima, activate its effect to draw a card. Diabolos gets triggered because it happened in the same chain. We'll crash into the monsters, get in for 1,000 damage. In the main phase 2, we'll rip a card out of their hand and at the end phase we'll get 2 tokens. They'll pass it, you know, they'll just concede. So first game win to us there. Set 3 pass. Let's see, now they are going into stuff I'm not entirely sure what they have at this point. They activate a striker card. At this point, I kind of have an idea that they might be on Psyframes, but they don't actually make it to the Lambda. We'll be able to get a backjack effect there, setting a Dark Light. In the end phase, they'll get a token. On our turn, we draw a Rima off the top. That was a lucky draw. They'll activate the trap card, getting their field spell. We'll crash into the token. End phase, we'll get a token as well. On their turn, they'll activate the spell, summon Clock Wyvern, summon a token, start doing some Link shenanigans. We will Dark Light their field, getting our Diabolos from hand, activating our Virus card, and we will call Spell. On our turn, we'll set and Allure. On their turn, we will activate the spell card. This doesn't actually help us because they're locked out of spells anyway. So on our turn, we'll Tribute, getting the Diabolos from grave, crash into their monster, hit the other one, and loop a card out of their hand. In the end phase, we'll get 2 tokens. Passing it back to them, they have a handful of Psyframes that are kind of useless to them. They're still locked out of spell cards, but we'll be able to rip a card out of their hand and get in for 2,000 damage. During the end phase, or main phase 2, yep, we'll activate another Eradicator, calling spell once again. This, however, will allow them to get Psyframes, but they are banished in the end phase. They will just pass it to us and lose. Alright, so here we are on to Game 4, Match 2. We will summon our Tour Guide, getting the Rhino. Since we can't really use Lilith, we have no LAIR, so I think that this is actually a good way to pass our turn here. We'll activate the Worst Virus card, hoping it can actually work, but they'll just get fodder into the graveyard. We will be able to activate our Rhino, backjack, and we'll stack. We don't get anything like too useful. We do get a Dark Light, but we are able to stack our deck, letting us draw into a Lair of Darkness. We absolutely need this. The tokens will prevent us from being OTK'd, luckily enough. We'll be able to activate another Brooding Grave Virus. They will try to make it into a Lambda, however they only have a Shizuku, and wow, no more striker cards in deck, it seems. We will set and pass. We still have a token kind of preventing our life points. We know they're not going to be able to OTK us. They are on Psyframes. We'll draw another Eradicator for turn and just pass it back to them. We'll let them step in for 15 and 1,000. In the end phase, we will get no tokens. We'll set our token card. We now have 4 set that can do almost nothing. However, we really need to rely on them to be able to do something. We'll get a Dark Light off. We'll allow them to crash into another 2,500 worth of damage before using our tokens. We may need these for the next turn. And what do you know? We draw Diabolos, so we'll be able to tribute our monster. Activate Diabolos, loop a card out of their hand, and crash into their Shizuku. In the end phase, we'll be able to get 2 tokens, which is looking pretty nice. We'll use Eradicator, call spell, and wipe 3. They will actually tribute over their monster, but will be forced to use Eradicator to not lose a token. However, they will be allowed to get 3 tokens in the end phase. On our turn, we rip a Tour Guide off the top. Lucky us, we'll be able to get a Lilith from the deck. Using that, we'll tribute one of their monsters, crash in one of the other tokens, and in the end phase, we'll get a token as well. Looks like the tides are turning. They have a handful of Psyframes. We'll be able to use Eradicator once again, and we'll trigger this Lilith to get our Diabolos from the grave. However, this will allow them to get into their Zeta from Alpha. Lucky for us, they are now on 3 Eradicator Epidemic Virus cards. On our turn, we will be able to tribute for cost their Psyframe because we have player priority. In the end phase, we'll get another token, pass it back to them. On their turn, they will use the Zeta effect to return 1 to hand. They're still on 3 Eradicators. They'll just pass it back to us. We'll use Mind Crush. We know what's in their hand. Diabolos, rip another card, summon Vanity's Fiend, and the writing is on the wall. Alright, now we are up against, I guess it's like a Cybers deck. I'm not entirely sure. This is, you know, just another random match, so I wasn't entirely sure what they were playing. At first, I thought it was Salad, but they're just going to do Cyber shenanigans. Not entirely sure what they're really going for. We don't have much to defend ourselves, so if they do end up being able to climb into an access code, this may spell the end of the game for us, but we'll see what they do. That Dark Light putting in work, 1,500 points of damage worth of work. Unfortunately, they are not able to actually go into the battle phase for some reason, not entirely sure why. Lure off the top, we'll banish the Diabolos just to get our Arima, use that effect to draw a card, get our Diabolos, and send Absolute King Backjack to stack our deck. We use Diabolos to tribute one of their cards, and we will run over for some damage. We're not able to destroy Cyber's Kid there because it can't be destroyed by battle. We'll get 2 tokens in the end phase, use Backjack to set a Mind Crush. They'll start off with the Lady Debug. Getting this Eve to hand, Transcode Talker, get the Cyber's Kid, Xcode Talker, lock us out of his zones. Oh no. Eradicator Epidemic Virus will be used to tribute one of their cards, and they will be able to destroy some of our monsters. In the end phase, they will also get a token. On our turn, we rip Lilith off the top, which is great. We'll rip a card out of their hand, use Lilith to set a trap. We'll step in for some damage, and pass turn in the end phase, we'll be able to get 2 tokens. Passing it back to them, they immediately discard the spell because of Eradicator. Ooh, it's putting in work. 3 Structure Decks, baby. Let's go. They get a token in the end phase. We draw a Maju Gazette for turn. We will set another trap and step in for damage. In the end phase, we'll get a token. This is looking grim for them. Mind Crush, we know what's in their hand, and they will concede. On to the final game, up against Cybers. We are 5 for 5 right now. They're going to be summoning some random monsters. Still not entirely sure what this deck is doing. Cyber shenanigans. I suppose they will draw a card there, get some tokens themselves. Get used to it, buddy. You'll be getting more tokens this game. Cyber's Wicked, summon a Tuner, which is pretty interesting. Go into Cyber's Quantum Dragon, and a Proxy F Magician. Now, they don't really have any interruptions on their field, so I'm not too concerned. They use their entire hand to do what is essentially amounting to nothing. Using Lilith will tribute the only threat on the board and step in for some damage. In the end phase, we'll also be able to get a token. Passing it back to them, we'll use the Crush card to rip the card drawn off of the top, and they will surrender.
Wow, what an impressive showing of 3 structure decks against 3 arguably terrible players. I mean, we are on a 3-match, 3-win streak. I think that's actually not too bad for 3 structure decks. Lair of Darkness putting in a lot of work. I think we have a huge advantage over people. This Floodgate effect kind of makes all of our monsters pretty broken. Theoretically, you could even tribute a Dragoon with Lilith, so that is pretty busted. I really like the way that all of that works. Tributing for cost is pretty effective. Everything kind of came up, maybe except the Stygian Street Patrol or Maju. These didn't really come into play. However, if we had seen them more, they might have. So, you know, I think probably the worst card was Curse of Darkness. This didn't really do anything at all, even though, you know, theoretically it probably should have, but I realize that it does kind of conflict with Eradicator. For the most part, if you are blind calling, you're going to call spell, and then if your opponent can't activate spells, this won't come up, so that didn't really matter. Mind Crush also putting in some good work here. We get to see the opponent's hand pretty frequently, so it's pretty easy to snipe cards out of the hand. I thought that was pretty cool. You know, I really like the list so far. I think, you know, starting out, it's not bad. Each of these structure decks cost $20. So, you know, we're at 60 starting out, which is above our original budget, but this is just the starting point. From now on, we're going to be spending $40 a week, and we'll only be purchasing sealed product to improve this list. I think next week we're going to be buying 2 Shadow structure decks at $20 each. There are some amazing cards in there that I think interact with Lilith really well, and Lair of Darkness with a certain fusion spell. A little bit of foreshadowing for you guys there. So yeah, amazing. I think there's going to be a lot of challenges ahead, but the sealed products are going to improve this list quite a bit. So, you know, that's going to be it for the first episode, guys. I hope you really enjoyed it. This has been Sealed Only Into Darkness. Catch you next time.